you guys ready to rock and roll? We had a really busy week. Let me double check the sound. Dan, how do we got things going on your end?
You should be able to hear me.
All
Everybody
right.
out there?
How's everyone doing tonight?
Jose Papi Chulo, ¿cómo está, mi amigo?
You're loud. Calm down.
Ah, there he is. We have volume. Everybody can hear us.
You are crystal clear. All right, so a lot of them. Okay, guys, ladies and gentlemen, the main thing we're going to talk about tonight, and I hope everybody got to watch the Sayreville video that we released yesterday. You know, that really just encompasses the kind of just terror that we deal with when it comes to exercising our fundamental and constitutional rights. It not only demonstrates the sheer arrogance of the police departments and the government of New Jersey and what they think about your rights and your ability to own a gun.
First of all, let's make it clear. We made a video about Sayreville. So if you haven't seen it, when we're done, go check it out.
If you haven't, shame on you. Yeah. You should be on our email list. You should definitely be watching our content because that 10-minute video right there encompasses everything that we deal with that normal states don't have to deal with. So I guess we would start with maybe just thanking the members that reached out to us and gave us these tips, reported these types of violations, documented these types of violations, and that's really the most important thing. Once again, I had 3 calls today. Every single one of them. I called my local police department, and they hung up on me twice, and they told me they're overwhelmed, and they're not, this isn't a priority for them, and you'll just have to wait for your gun permit or until they feel like doing it. And what's the first question I ask? Did you record anything?
I said this in a previous video, and this is going to sound crass. It's going to sound a little mean. Like, we all know they cheat us, all right? We know they abuse us. We don't care. Like, we all know it. Everybody that's listening to this right now knows it. Everybody on our side, on our team knows this is happening. The only thing that matters is if you record it. Yeah. If you don't record it, we can't help you. So, I mean, I also talked to a bunch of people. I know Long Branch is screwing people over. We know,
that's a big
complaint. Yeah, we know West New York is screwing people over.
Well, don't mention the names of the towns.
I'm just saying the towns generically. I'm not calling people out individually. Yeah. I know Jackson's screwing people over. Now they're all good. Edison, I've heard from people. North Jersey, multiple people from state barracks I talked to in the last 2 days. We know what's happening. It's been happening for years. We know this is going on. What we need is documentation. So if you call, put your phone on speaker and have another phone or a tablet just recording it. If you go in, push your phone on your shirt, put it like this in your pocket, and record it. If we don't get the recordings, there's nothing we can do to help. Once we have the recordings, we can do things like what we did with Sayreville in that video.
Yeah. And just to, I want everybody to understand, for as long as we've been involved, myself over 10 years, Dan over 10 years, and many of you for even longer, we've been going through this same type of abuse over and over and over again. I talk to people that have been dealing with this for 30, 40, 50 years. And the only time the status quo shifted in our favor and we started getting taken seriously was in 2015 when we started recording the police departments and the government agents doing these types of things and infringing on our rights and treating us like second-class citizens when we wanted nothing more than be able to do the same things and protect ourselves the same way the very government of New Jersey does. And after we documented everything, going into all these police departments, going in undercover, documenting over and over and over again, over 20 or 30 towns, and putting out the videos, we recorded for almost 6 months. And then within 10 days, Governor Murphy came out with an executive action reprimanding the towns and the government agencies that were doing this.
Murphy?
No, this was Governor Christie in 2015.
You said Murphy.
I'm sorry, yeah. Governor Christie. My mistake. And so it works. Because before you and I were being called Looney Tunes and we're paranoid, we're just gun nuts, we're this, we're that, and we weren't being taken seriously and we're being dismissed as our rights were literally being trampled on. And that's why it's so important. It does not matter. You can call me, you can call us, you can tell us all you want about how crappy you're being treated with your Second Amendment rights. But unless you document it, unless you record it, they will do nothing about it. It is irrelevant. It's as if it doesn't happen at all. And case in point, we have a very strong suspicion that now they're starting to change their behaviors because of our undercover videos and exposing these types of behaviors. Go to our YouTube channel. There's tens of thousands of views, hundreds of thousands of views on our content now. And then watch what happens. We went to Governor Murphy's press conference. The first time, they thought they'd be tough guys and surround me with their armed guards, threaten me with force by saying, if you don't leave, we're going to take you out of here. And then what happened? All the subsequent visits, none of them did that. Because they know very well.
They know the optics.
They know the optics.
But so let's talk about this video real quickly. So Alexander had gotten tips from multiple people, not just one. I think it was like 4 people that are residents of Sayreville. And the department had advertised on their website, at the physical department with a sign, and on their answering machine, their phone. So you'd call the police department, hit whatever number for firearms, and you'd get a message saying the firearm department is closed. The sign at the department said they were closed. Everything, every form of communication, Facebook was telling you they were closed. Now, you're not allowed to be closed. The Second Amendment doesn't close.
Yeah.
So he goes in there the first time, which was, I believe, a week and a half ago, and he's interfacing with was it a lieutenant? It was a ranking officer. It wasn't like a patrolman.
He claimed, I asked to speak to the supervisor.
He said he was the supervisor. I think he said it was a lieutenant. I could be mistaken. But it's funny. His story changes like 3 times as you're dialoguing with him. At first, he thinks, well, this is just some stupid resident, so I can just overpower him with lies, right? And just say some boorish, vague thing to him, and he won't have anything to say. So he's like, yeah, the state, they're closed. It's like, well, no. And he made up something like, oh, well, my friend did it, in another town. It's like, oh, well, the person's not here. They're coming back next week. And he's like, yeah, well, I went, when? Who is it? Like, have they been here? Like, has it been all this whole time like this? And you slowly find out that these people are just so used to having, it makes you think, how many people walk into police departments every day and someone just barks at them lies, like, get out of here, like, we're closed, don't bother us, like, oh, the state's closed, so don't bother me, talk to them. Yeah, we know they're not closed. They're very backlogged, but they're not closed. They have to be processing applications. So, he captures this content. He goes in the back. He comes back and he says, oh, she's going to be here next week, the woman who handles this.
Now the story changed.
And he, again, it changes. And then he kind of pivots and he's like, well, who did you speak to? Which is kind of a funny thing to say. Was it your supervisor? And he goes, no. So someone below you knows more than you about this process. And he kind of feigns. It's hard to tell whether he genuinely doesn't know the process or whether he's feigning, stupidity because he doesn't want to look bad. Either way, it's inexcusable, the back and forth lying. And then, finally, he realizes he's recording him. And for all you people that constantly ask us, is it legal to record? Yes, it's legal to record. He admitted to the cop, yeah, I'm recording. He said, are you recording me with the video? Yeah, I am. I want to find out what's going on. And then his tone really softened up. And he was just like, yeah, next week, that's all I know. The person's coming in. So just like we did with Christie, just like we did with all the other ones, we follow up because we're gonna make an honest man out of him. He comes back the next week, and the officer who was there was the previous week was not there, and he shows up, and the guy goes, hey, is the person here that's handling firearms? And he notices the wall, the sign is down, the phone message is different, and she goes, no, she's not here. She'll come in tomorrow. Yeah. So the thing is, ultimately, they can lie to you constantly with impunity, and there's nothing you can do. If they don't feel like doing their job, they'll just make something up to you. And if you call them out on their lie, they'll tell you another lie. Like, yeah, they'll come next week. Why don't you come next week? They're still not there. So, yeah, it doesn't matter that you scrub the website. Sayreville does not care about your rights. They just don't give a shit.
They don't care about your life, period. And I also wanted to preface that when I walked in there, you had a group of cops. There was, I think, 2 cops that I saw through the window just sitting around showing, oh, look at this video. They're all huddled around looking at cell phone videos and all that stuff. So while they simultaneously claim, oh, the fire department's overloaded, oh, we're backlogged and so forth, they're just sitting around and just showing each other videos. And I just want to emphasize to everybody, you go to the State Police FAR's website and you fill out your application there. You get an email when your references fill out the information, and you get an email when your background check is done.
It's all documented.
It's all documented.
And you get open communication about
all
this.
They need to do at that point, the state police says this person's good to go. All they need to do is then they go to their computer. They say, Joe Schmo has been approved. They go to the little typewriter. They type in the information. They call you up and say, come in, pick up your card. They fingerprint you. You sign it in front of them, and that's it. That's it. I mean, you could process hundreds a day, but they don't want to. This is what they think about your rights.
Yeah, we're closed. Go away, slave. That's how they view you. You're a slave to them. You're a taxpayer slave.
And it's an intentional obstacle. And these are the types of fights that we're up against. But why is this important? It's important that we document this, and all of you report these issues. All of you document it. There's nothing wrong. You can completely anonymously report these things to us. You can completely anonymously record, and then we can never use your information. And it's important to document it because maybe there's something else coming down the pipeline that we need this information for, that we need to demonstrate the oppression under the color of law of our constitutional rights in New Jersey. And here is hundreds of examples that are, of the infringements going on. There are other, take for example, Howell, New Jersey. They're doing fingerprinting outside in a parking lot.
Not fingerprint, the signature.
Yeah, the signatures and signing. They get their permits done right away. I get my permit done right away. My permits are done in under 2 weeks. So why is it you go to another town a couple miles away and suddenly people are waiting 8 months, 6 months?
And if people are looking for perspective, I mean, you're getting emails anyway, so you can tell if your municipal is lying. Just for perspective, I put something in like around April 12th, April 13th. I got a notice back yesterday that it was done from the state. My references were both done on the day I submitted it. So what are we talking about? 3-4 weeks? 3 weeks roughly. So even if you're missing your emails, just know at this point, if you did something a month ago, it should be coming back. Yeah. So check your emails. You know exactly when the state is done with their portion. As soon as that's done, go talk to your municipal. And like we said, if you got to go in and document. If you're documenting and they're giving you the runaround or they're giving you an attitude, or I've seen this, they'll threaten you, telling you have to leave, stop harassing them, that you're impeding an investigation. They'll throw lines at you. Say, all right, sir, Officer John, whatever his name is, record it, walk away, and go to your next council meeting.
Yeah.
Ask, hey, who is the police commission? Who is the police chair? Who's the town attorney? Who's the mayor? All right, here's my issue. I have a video of myself going in to ask about my firearms ID card. Here are the emails from the New Jersey State Police that say it was done a month ago. And let me push play so you can see, and the chief, so you can see the attitude I received from the police department, a taxpayer with no criminal record, and push the play button right into the microphone and play it. Trust me, they don't want to deal with that. The police don't want to have that bad press. It's a public meeting. It's recorded. Everything is documented, and they don't want to look bad in front of their bosses who are sitting on that dais. So you're not being mean. You're not being rude. You're not stirring the pot. That is your legal, lawful recourse in government, right? If you're going, the police have jurisdiction over the permits. They administer everything. If they choose to threaten you or harass you or not answer your questions, then your natural recourse is to go to your elected officials and target the people who are responsible for the police department. It's perfectly natural. There's nothing wrong with doing that.
You have. It's crazy that literally people die in other countries doing a fraction. Like there's assassinations. People get murdered for doing a fraction.
Jersey City, there's like riots going on. Did you see the police?
No, I'm talking about when you stand up and question the government in other countries, you will die. You will be murdered.
Well, that's the difference. We're a civilized Western country,
exactly,
and we are supposed to have these means of redressing our grievances and going up the chain. And the problem is, people get so fixated with like, oh, I'm scared they're going to retaliate. Like, all right, look, if you're scared, I can't help you, right? If you're scared, then their fear worked, and sit there and wait. I can't help you. But if you want to do something about it, go talk to them, document them, and go up the chain of command. And if it's still not working, then you send us the videos. Send us the audio and video, and we will make an issue out of it. No, we're here to protect you as a community, and maybe we'll show up at your council meeting and cite the state statutes to the town attorney that they're breaking. But we can't do that unless it's documented.
That's really the most critical part, and you sometimes you're in the moment and you're watching. You're in the moment, and then I go back and I watch the videos, and I look at the smug attitude of some of these government agents when we're just asking, how do we exercise a fundamental constitutional right? And you see the attitude, and I ask a couple questions, I ask them different ways, and then I start getting an attitude from the government agent of, I've told you, I've tried explaining to you already. She's closed, the department's closed, this person's not here.
Right. They don't get the distinction that like without us saying it, it's like, no, you're breaking the law. Like you don't have the authority to close, right? You have to process applications in a timely manner. Now, we know the courts have defended them and and delaying, but that doesn't mean you don't have the ability to press them, right? So yes, we know they cheat. Like every week, and I'm not judging anybody here. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I've been in this state my whole life. Every year I talk to people and they want to give me their sob story about how long their permits are taking.
Yeah.
We don't care unless you document it. I can't help you, right? So make it a point to document, and then we can do something about it. And even if you don't want to share it with us, even if you don't want to, say you're scared to record, fine. Then go to the council meeting and address your government, address your town.
That's your right. That is your fundamental right.
It's what you're supposed to do. That's why they have a public portion that they have to give you a certain nominal amount of time. Some towns it's like 3 minutes or 5 minutes, but whatever. They have to listen to you. You can address it to the chair. It's being recorded, right? It's documented. There may even be press there, depending on where you live. If you live in Hudson County, there's a reporter there, right? If you're in Jersey City, Hoboken, West New York, all of those towns, Union City, they usually have like someone from local press there. There's probably a camera recording it. Some of them broadcast them on local cable, right? Yeah. So trust me, nobody wants to be told, especially with a video, a police officer like gruffly yelling at a citizen who isn't a criminal. Like that's not a good look. So bring it to them, bring it to their doorstep.
And this is our greatest strength, but also our biggest weakness. Because if this was any other entitlement program or some other, left wing kind of issue, they would be burning down cities. They would be rioting. They would be doing everything in their power to try to get these things to stop. But unfortunately, we sit around and we take this abuse. And we say, okay, fine, I'll just wait. Okay, fine, I'll just, put up with this attitude from the police department. We've shown this. We called other government agencies, and you get, the best of the best customer service. Like, hello, thank you for calling Department so-and-so. How can we help you? Oh,
we can take you today for an abortion.
Is there anything else?
How many abortions would you like today? They're open. Yeah.
Whatever the issue was, we recorded them. They're on our videos. You can go back and listen to them. And then look at what the attitude you get when you want to call about your constitutional right. It's, what do you want a gun for? Oh, we're closed. Come back another time. We're backlogged. Sorry, we can't take you right now.
So I want to touch something on this subject. Someone tipped me off to Reddit, and apparently there have been like threads where people have been discussing our live streams on there. So I started poking around, and there's a thread there with a guy who called the state police and recorded it and just showed it ringing, right? So I'm glad that other people are now doing what NJ2AS did with our activism, because I know a lot of you don't report to municipal police. You live in a town that reports to a state barrack. So short of going to the barrack where the employees are not there anyway, there's maybe a trooper or two there, but my understanding is the clerks are all like at home or furloughed or whatever. The same rules apply. You may not have like a town council meeting to go to, but you can call them and record, right? Say we had one barrack, like we called Red Lion, right? A bunch of times. We had them saying damning things, not only to Alexander, but to other activists who we recorded. And the phone rings 200 times and no one answers. Good. That's something we can use. We can market to show. What, do you feel self-conscious that you're shorter than me?
This chair keeps falling.
He's looking at the camera and he's getting a little uncomfortable. It's all right. I don't mind being shorter on the camera. I don't have those issues. But anyway, just record even the call to the state police, right? It's just as effective. If we can get 100 of you guys that live, reporting to these barracks, and we can post a video that says user, we'll put your name if you want. If you don't want your name, we'll make it anonymous. And we just have a video of it ringing, ringing, ringing. Caller 2, ringing, ringing, ringing. Caller 3, hey, asshole, what do you want from me? Didn't you hear that we don't have enough people? Don't you know there's a pandemic? Perfect. That's a marketing campaign that we can use. And that's what they did with our video. The guy had to repeat 2 times. Yeah, everybody thinks apparently they could shoot the COVID-19 with a gun. And then he changed the subject to like, well, it's not that. I'm worried about the police departments. And then he repeats again, well, everybody thinks they can shoot the COVID-19 with a gun. Implying anyone that applies for a gun permit is a moron because they think they can shoot the virus, which is obviously a facetious statement. But, if we capture that attitude, good. And as I'm reading Reddit, I read this guy and I'm happy. I'm like, look, maybe we're inspiring other people to do this. We don't care if it's under our name or not. Just do it. And
that's actually the guy commented, Michael Paterson. I was the one that recorded that. I'll send it.
He's the guy on Reddit.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm
awesome.
assuming he is.
Michael,
is that
someone tipped me off to your video, so I'm glad you posted that. And then I saw someone allegedly saying they are a trooper responding, and that's really what caught my attention.
Yeah.
And it's really long, so I'm not going to read it, but essentially the thesis of his statement is, hey, I'm a trooper, and just know it's not our fault. Like, we don't have all our staff there, and, you know, this is just the way it is. And trust me, nobody's more upset than I am that I can't give you your permits. It's like, okay, buddy, it's funny. Nobody talks like that like when we call.
Yeah.
Nobody. Like, we've never heard in one of our phone calls, we've called Alexander dozens of times.
Yeah.
Dozens is not not overselling it.
Probably close
dozens
to
of times.
Yeah.
Not one person has ever said, oh, we're really sorry that it's backed up. Never have I heard that tone. And moreover, it's like, okay, then like, why don't you do something about it? Like, someone actually commented that below correctly. Like, why doesn't your PBA reach out to the legislatures? Because you have one of the most powerful PBAs in the state. Why don't they reach out to the legislature and say, hey, we don't want to deal with this anymore. This is ridiculous. Take this off our backs, eliminate this system, and just have people do a point of sale NICS check like they already do. But no, they would never argue for that because they'd have to lay off half a dozen or a dozen state troopers whose sole job is to do that. Yeah. And the PBAs want that, right? So, yeah, the point is, the more people we have in our community doing this, we'd like for you to share it with us so we can market because we have a wide base to communicate with. But if it means putting it on Reddit or putting it on Twitter, good. The more voices showing that they are lying, that they are being disingenuous, and they are not helping us. If you're waiting for 2 months and the barracks like, oh yeah, the document's in Trenton and some guy has it there, I have to wait for him. Document it, record it, and send it to us.
Yeah, exactly. Slingshot made a comment about wanting to get a gun. Lives in South Jersey. We have a section of the website dedicated on how to buy a gun in New Jersey, NJ2AS.org. Go check it out under the resources tab. But like exactly what Daniel was saying, we are literally treated like second-class citizens in the state. Anybody that wants to be a gun owner, there must be something wrong with you, and they're going to dismiss you.
It's not just that they look down on you. It's like, oh, you're a gun owner? I have no duty to do my job for you. F you. Like, it's like, when I'm ready, right, I'll help you. When I'm ready. And if you say anything to me, I'll threaten you. Like, I've seen that happen many times. And again, they're not all like that. If I hear people buzzing in the chat about, oh, that's a generalization. Yeah, it's a fairly accurate generalization that most of them behave that way. Look at our phone calls. If I got a happy customer service call I didn't see it one time where they were polite and apologetic and explaining why they're delayed.
If this was any other aspect
there'd be
of
riots.
Society, there'd be riots, people would be getting fired, but because you want to exercise your constitutional rights, you are going to be treated like a second-class citizen in New Jersey. No ifs, ands, or buts. I don't know of anything else. I call to get anything else done, I get treated with better respect than the BS we have to put up with every single time we want to exercise our constitutional rights. And that's what we have to document. That's what we have to fight against. That's what we have to sue against. That's what we have to expose and demonstrate the type of tyranny and terror that we live under every single day. And, perfect example. Everybody remembers the story of Carol Bound. Carol Bound was a South Jersey woman that wanted to get a gun to protect herself against her psychotic ex-boyfriend that was 6'5", and she was a petite 5-foot woman, 80, 90 pounds. And every day she was going to the police department trying to get her gun. And what did she get? The same BS that we put on camera. Oh yeah, we're busy. Oh, we're backlogged. Oh, the fingerprints didn't come back yet. Blah 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 blah. And now an innocent woman is dead because of New Jersey's gun laws, and that's what we fight against. That's what we have to stand up against, and that's a narrative that we have to change. And guess what? I cannot tell you how many people, staunchly anti-gun people, this week called me up to do. Guess what? On learning how to buy a gun.
So we always plug Union Hill Gun Club and Legend Firearm, right? Ira and Rocco. I was at Ira's this week chatting with him for about a half hour, and every time I go there, like, I love hanging out and joking around with him, but every time I go there in the last month, and someone calls, it's funny. He actually goes, listen, like he'll be talking because he's literally like taking a phone call, running to a customer, taking another phone. He's got like 2 phones going off because everyone's bothering him. And it's always a brand new gun buyer, which is great. But they have no clue how the system works. And they're like, yeah, I want to buy a gun. Like, I heard I have to get an appointment. He's like, yeah, do you have an FID? They're like, no. What is that? Like, they have no clue. And then when he's like, well, you got to do this, 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 and this, they're like, what? Are you kidding me? I thought I could just do whatever I want. And and then Ira literally looks at me like, you see? Like the enthusiasm and the awareness, of what is going on is at an all-time high. And this is awakening a lot of people that traditionally are not on our side, which is a good thing. And we're going to get to you guys in the chat, not ignoring you. Just want to cover our bullet points, and then I will go back to the top of the chat and read any question or comment. But what else?
Going on to infuriating subject number 2.
Yes, SCOTUS.
SCOTUS. Once again, the can has been kicked down the road. We had over 10 cases being heard before the Supreme Court to either grant cert or not grant cert, meaning that they will take up the case and listen to it. There was, I think, 3 cases from New Jersey on concealed carry. And guess what? Once again, they said, this isn't important. They're not saying that literally on paper, but that's in essence what they're saying by constantly ignoring the issue, constantly ignoring it. People are dying. People are going to be put in jail because of New Jersey gun laws, and the United States Supreme Court does not want to do the right thing here and take up these issues.
The point is, we said this last week.
We said it 10 years ago.
We said this 10 years ago. That was the point I was going to make.
I'm sorry I took your thunder.
That's okay. It's a team effort. The point is, we're 2 of the sole voices that have been saying this. Stop waiting for SCOTUS. Yeah. Stop relying on SCOTUS. They may not do anything at all. We don't know. It's not a guarantee. It is not an excuse for us to stop our offensive activism. And we have plans. We talked this winter. We had a nice dinner with a bunch of people in government, people in entertainment, individuals in Newark that run the gamut of different circles, right? That we're going to be focusing on as we head into the summertime. We have things on tap for carry and specifically our urban neighborhoods, right? Because this is the catalyst where we think we can actually affect change. So SCOTUS, like we've always said, we follow it intently. The lawsuits are imperative that they're there, and we're happy they're there. But the whole notion of just like, they're there, so let's kick our feet up and just wait for it to happen. That's not how it works, right? They may never happen. It's been 10 years and nothing's happened.
Exactly.
So we can't wait for that. What else do we got? We're gonna do some urban work. We'll maybe tease that in a couple of weeks. It's in the very preliminary stage. We have some finances we have to set straight. We have a marketing campaign we have to set straight, but we've started putting together some proofs, and it's going to be some exciting stuff that we think. Let's just say it's going to. You know how like you can literally sue the governor and the media is silent, right? This is the type of thing that is nowhere near as controversial, but is going to get widespread media, in my opinion. I think. I'm optimistic. I'm an optimist. So that campaign will be forthcoming.
Well, I think that's part of the general idea of we're going to start launching outreach programs, doing marketing campaigns, talking about these issues, because every day we're getting emails and phone calls from people about how to buy a gun, how to do this, how to do that, where do I get training. So these are the people that are actually going through the effort to try to find us. So imagine how many people there are out there that don't have the resources to do that and cannot navigate the whole process. So that's why it's easier for us to put out these campaigns, spread the word, change the conversation. Because right now you talk to anybody about guns, the first thing he says, you want to buy a gun? Who do you want to kill? Why do you want to hurt people? Guns are bad. Guns are made to kill people.
Who do you want to kill?
Who do you want to kill?
You have a gun too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the insanity of
it. I wish we could have talked about that other thing.
Don't bring it up. Not yet.
We're working on other stuff that we're trying to document, right? Because like I said, we don't. This is for fun. We do this once a week to interface with you, but throughout the rest of the week, we're talking about what can we film, right?
Yeah.
And we're trying to get something that we have a tip on, and we keep missing it. So we're working, we're persevering, we're trying to get it. When we have better news, we don't want to tip anyone off, because if we say something, they're going to stop. But we want to document it, and hopefully we'll have some news.
Okay, that's a really good point. That's a very good point, because there was some pretty good news or pretty good information in regard to corruption, in regard to the type of tyranny we're living under, in regard to the Second Amendment rights. And they just come out and tell people, oh, I'm going to report you to this organization. And I said, why? Like, why would you say that?
Right.
You know, now they know we're going to approach them.
Right.
Now they know we're going to investigate them and document them and record them. You know, don't
That's
tell
not
them.
to say that we haven't had multiple people contact us in the last month anyway.
Agreed. But today's conversation was actually a very good one, and I was hoping this individual would have documented it, and he said, no, I didn't record anything. I was like,
Can't help.
can't help.
Yeah.
Like, it means nothing, because I'm going to go there, or we're going to go there and try to extract this information and from the government.
Are you breaking the law, sir? No, I'm not. Right? But if we have the evidence already and we go, are you breaking the law, sir? And they say no, then we make a video where we push play on them doing it and them saying no. Then it's damning, right? That's what we need.
Go back to our old YouTube videos when we went to Orange and a lot of other towns in Essex and Hudson County, where the police officer is boasting to us about discriminating against every person that came into his office because a woman was too small to own a gun. He denied her. An individual was handicapped, denied her. An individual was too old, denied her. He's bragging about this. And do you think he would have ever said that or admitted to that if I went back after and said, I had a report that you were being discriminatory and telling people that they're too small, old, young, fat, handicapped, whatever they may be, and that's why you should not be giving them a gun permit? They would have never. But he thought he was being just, I'm protecting my community. I'm taking guns off the street. If I can stop one person from buying a gun.
I don't even think that's his mentality.
Oh, of course it is, man.
No, I think he's just that deluded that it's like, oh, well, I don't. No. I think it's power. I think he literally.
Oh, it's definitely power.
He thinks he's omnipotent. And it's just like, well, I don't like your face, so you don't get one. No. I don't think he actually thinks he's helping people.
No, I definitely think it's the power trip.
Yeah.
And it's also the fact that they don't think regular civilians should own guns, period.
Oh, he said that. That's evident. Yeah. I mean, it was his own words.
Yeah, in or out of the home, whatever the argument, they just don't believe that you should own a gun, period.
All right, we rehash those stories every week. Let's get to the interactive portion. A lot of comments. We're going to start at the top, and then I'll check Twitter and see if anyone's on there. Paul Molinari said he sent you a message. Paul will follow up. We'll check it out.
Paul, I'm reading it right now, actually.
Jose, my man in Englishtown, good to see you, brother. Always good to have you here. We're just waiting for the range to open up so we can go blast a few. Pork chop. Volume checks out. We try. This is going to make people. Yeah, make sure you guys are recording. I see people talking about that. Paterson doesn't even respond to calls right now. Good. Record yourself calling the police department and then go to their council meeting. I just left a council meeting. I got here like 20 minutes before we started because I was in a council meeting for my town and we run it online. Like, I don't care how lazy you are. If you can't log on to a conference call on your computer, like a video chat for your town, and log on and just speak during the public session for 1 minute and address your concern, then like I really can't help you. This pandemic is making activism easier for you, for us, right? Because before you had to actually get in a car, drive to a borough hall, sit there for 2 hours while they talk about boring resolutions, and then speak at the end at the public session. Now you can literally sit on your ass, wait for the public session on your phone, and from your phone, like video chat, and ask your question and address it. And it's recorded. You have a record of it that you can then share with us. So please, if you're having issues and you've already dealt with the police and they're not helping you, go to your town, find out where they're hosting their meetings, because they're all, with the COVID, shutting down all the borough and town halls, they have to host it online or they have to do it on a conference call. So no excuses. Get on there, record it, and talk to us.
Paul, so I just read your email. We'll reach back out to you, and I'll get more information. I need to get your phone number so we can speak on the phone. But that does sound very interesting that this individual's had his fingerprints canceled 4 times. It just goes to show that not only do we have to deal with a anti-gun government in New Jersey, private companies can also do the same thing. What's to say that this person at Identigo hates guns and goes through the list and says, "Oh, these people are coming in for gun fingerprinting. Let's cancel it. Let's give other people priority." And
it's not ironic. It's funny. It's coincidental that Identigo is always super fast, right? Because it's the only aspect. It's a government contract, but it's a private company.
Yeah.
So they do their prints and in 48 hours, it's out of their door. Like it's sent over to the police. They are never the reason, almost never, that it's held up. It's always some agent of the government that's holding it up. All right. Paterson is always out of money, and that's what they tell you. Record them telling you that, and then send it to me. Thanks for your help in Jackson. My last permit took 15 days. Thanks, Alexander.
Excellent. Thanks,
Alexander. And thank you.
Who said that?
That was Paul Meviglione.
All right, Paul. Excellent. When did it?
Thank you for your donations because you funded that campaign. So thank you, everybody.
And that's not over. Let's be very clear.
We're doing it in Sayreville.
We're doing it in Sayreville. But what I found is that a lot of towns, once they think that we're gone and we're no longer watching them, they start to bring back these delays and so forth. So that's why it's important with Operation Establish Compliance, which is the project to make sure all the towns are compliant. We constantly keep these individuals in these towns on our radar because we have seen before, like Jersey City. There's going to be more about that coming up. They lost in court. They were told by a judge, you cannot do this. And what do? They went and did it again the minute they thought the case was over. So, but thanks, Paul. Give me a heads up. Paul, do me a favor. Email me the contact us section in the website so we have your information. And I'd like to follow up with you on a couple questions on that.
All right. Ivan Nieves. Thanks, Sergio. But Paterson has been a nightmare. The detective there is only there 2 days a week. And then you can't record because it's impossible to go up to the 3rd floor. Record the phone call, right? There's always something you can record. If you can't get through to the police, if it's literally you're barricaded physically and on the phone, like you can't even connect to somebody, go to the council meeting. I know Paterson is doing theirs online because I'm a nerd. I watched it online. I don't even live there, and I watched a Paterson council meeting online just out of curiosity. So they're doing them. Go on the website and find out where they are and log in and watch it and say something during the public session. Our good friend Eric K, he's got a website. He just started like a free speech kind of website called speechriver.com. So he just asked to plug it. Go ahead and check that out if you guys are interested in that. Thanks, Eric. Eric's a great guy, great supporter of the organization.
Great, thank you.
Ever address the handgun permits that expired during quarantine shutdown? So they function just like everything else. Well, if you had the permit, when you say it expired, you should have been able to use it. I see what you're saying. That you weren't able to use it during that 1 or 2 week period when the stores were closed.
You should be able to get an extension.
You should be able to go to your chief or your detective. Well, the chief signs it, but whoever was handling...
The highest ranking officer.
Yeah, the highest ranking officer physically signs it, but sometimes a lower ranking officer administers them and is responsible for them. Just go to whoever's responsible for them and say, hey, I need an extension. And if they give you the runaround, record it and go to your police, go to your council.
Record.
Do you guys see the theme going on?
Yeah. Record. And it's easy as... and we explain this every single time. I think we just have to make dedicated videos on how to do it. It's easy as this.
We did.
Take your phone.
We made no. We already did. We made a video last year. It was me and him sitting at this very table, and it was about activists. It was called something activism, and it was like a 25-minute video where we step by step. We discussed what you have to do. So if you want to look up on YouTube, we'll read the title and we'll post it in the chat so you all can see it. But we've already given detailed instructions on how to do this.
Yeah, really simple. Put your phone on airplane mode, and just put it in your pocket of some sort and record.
What is the statute number for how they are supposed to handle their parts? I'm not clear on what that question means. Octavian, if you want to say that again in a rewording, I'll try to address it. NJ State Police email states the multiple handgun exemption I did and was done in November when the police officer never sent the paperwork. Yeah, I think you can do up to 6, right? Because they can technically, you can do 3 in 90 days, and then you can get a renewal, an extension, and do another 3. I think to get more than that, you need a special exemption. I'm not totally well versed on that, but I mean, very few people apply for like 20 permits. It's kind of an extenuating circumstance. Right now, we're lucky if we can get them to even give you 1. So you should be able to do 6, is my understanding, in one shot. Not all of us have a municipal police department. Yep, that's why we addressed the state police.
We talked about earlier.
That. If I'm repeating, it's just because we're going through the questions now, so bear with us. Okay, so file with FARs, pay online, wait for background and references. If approved, go to local PD to get permits. So local PD don't need to do mental background, hard copy, and employment checks. Stephen Kamyanek, I hope I didn't butcher your name. We discussed this last week. It's not what they have or don't have to do. Theoretically, they have to perform an investigation. Theoretically, they can take the documents that came over from the state police, the electronic form, print out a card, sign it, and give it to you. Depending on what detective you talk to, some of them do just that. They don't do anything, right? Some of them call your doctor, call your mother, call your brother, call your employer, send a letter to your employer, ask you to notarize forms, ask for your blood sample, talk to your psychiatrist. It just depends who you get. Now, all of those things are illegal. However, they do that. But the point is, there is no definitive answer of what they can or cannot do. Your mental background check is run already by them, but technically, they could investigate you further. The only thing they legally can make you give them is a photo ID. That's it. Yeah. If they ask you for a passport or, I need your blood sample, I need a doctor's note, you don't need to give any of those things. So again, if they're demanding that, record it. Clifton PD said not to call them. I have to wait for them to call me to pick it up. Carlos Rivera, record it. Yeah. Do you get the theme going? Record them saying that. See, they don't dictate, the police don't dictate your rights. They are charged with administrating your permits, but they don't dictate your rights. All right. If they are going to give you the runaround and you're waiting for 2 months and they're telling you, you wait till we call you, record it and go to the council meeting and tattle on them to their boss. Okay. Trust me, when you go on a recorded, documented public meeting that's advertised and there's press there, especially if you're in a bigger town or bigger city, they'll listen to you. So don't tolerate that. Do something about it. Michael Peterson, you were the one that did that call on Reddit. Awesome, man. I was so happy to see that. Glad to see that more people are getting involved in activism. A lot of crap comes from upper management. I guess I've been lucky so far. Yes and no, but I'm glad that you haven't been getting too much trouble. People talking about moving out of state. All right, we don't have that privilege, so we have to fight here.
Oh, the classic just move argument. I'm sure a lot of people that moved to Virginia are saying the same thing right now. That's...
All right, Slingshot. So I remember Slingshot. I remember you saying something, and I think you were trolling us a little bit, but I'm glad you're here. I live in South Jersey, and I have yet to apply for my FID. I would like to get one, but not sure. Well, that's up to you. It's your decision. But if you're sitting on the fence, look at it this way. What do you have to lose besides the 20-something bucks if you apply and you don't want a gun later on? And if you do want one, you're going to be waiting anyway for an inordinate amount of time. So, it's up to you, but if I were you, just submit it. And at least if you change your mind later, you can go buy something. That's just what I would tell you. Is PA getting bad? We're not going to talk about PA. I will mention Massachusetts, that just today a judge overturned their unlawful closure of stores.
Really?
They've had all stores. I don't know if you guys, I know that we're New Jersey Second Amendment Society. Maybe we should start a Massachusetts Second Amendment Society, but they have had these opinions come out, not opinions, I don't know if it's a declaration or what, but the government has actually used, this is great. They've actually used to their defense the justification for not opening stores. One of them was, well, if you really want to buy a gun, go buy it out of state.
Wow.
So just keep in mind that these statists and gun control people, they're one of their number one excuses for why they need strict gun laws is because, all these other states have loose gun laws around us and we don't want people going there. And so because I think it was ammunition, because I don't think Massachusetts people can buy guns out of state, but they can buy ammunition. The Attorney General's office actually said, yeah, we're not opening the stores, and if you want to buy ammo, just go out over the border and buy it there. So when everything's normal, they use that as a reason why they can't let you go out of state. But during times of crises, when they're clearly breaking the law and closing their own stores, they then use that as an argument for why they don't have to open their stores. So they care about your safety during normal times, but then, just go to New Hampshire and buy bullets, if you need to, buy cartridges there. It's hilarious. And just today, the judge shot down the government and said, you got to open your stores.
Yeah, that's their classic double standard. And this is
they're full of shit. That's
and here's the beautiful part. This is the whole part about exposing what their true agenda is, because we know what their agenda is. There's no such thing as the perfect gun or the right gun in their minds, right? They don't think you should have any type of gun. And you want to prove that, the next time you have this debate with somebody or you're speaking to one of these legislators, ask them what kind of gun you should get. And you're going to say, well, statistics show that, if you have a gun in a household, you're 5 times more likely to get killed by it. And they make up all these bogus issues. But the fact that they know there's all these new gun owners going out there and gun buyers coming out and going and buying guns. And then what do? They close the gun safety schools. They close the ranges so that you can
and then direct their citizens out of state to buy ammo.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's exactly like what. So they should be advocating, right? They've advocated for mandatory training, right? Mandatory training. You have to get training. You have to take safety classes to buy a gun. Luckily, we defeated that in 2015, 2016.
Yes,
and that's a whole other story. But now they're saying we don't want you getting any.
We don't want anybody training.
We don't want anybody training. Let's close the gun schools. Let's close gun safety schools. Let's close the gun ranges. We don't want anybody training.
Right. So now it's not unsafe.
Yeah.
Now it's totally safe. This just shows you their disingenuous philosophy. But we already know that. So Slingshot then said, "I just need some references. I would like to learn a little bit more about guns. I don't know where you live. I live near Union Hill Gun Club, and Rock Training is there. ROC. If you live near Monmouth, Middlesex County, that's where I'd recommend you go. But there's tons of places in the state you can go train. You don't know. I don't know. A lot of people talking about Pennsylvania.
What's happening in Pennsylvania?
I don't know. They're talking about moving there.
Oh.
Thanks for Sayreville. Are they keeping the ranges closed in the hopes that they would have to close permanently? I doubt that. I mean, most of these ranges, like some of them are private, right?
Yeah,
they're not losing money. It's sunk. They already have your money. It's look. There's different ranges. So the public ranges, they're getting hurt because they need like through the door foot traffic, like walk-in traffic. But a lot of the private ranges are member-driven, right? So people pay dues, and then they're allowed to use it for a certain amount of time, like a year, and then their dues are up, and they have to renew.
Yeah,
so they're technically not losing money.
I renewed in January, and a couple $100 I haven't even been able to utilize yet. I was about to say something. Now I completely drew a blank on what I was going to talk about. What were we talking about before? The gun closure. Yeah. So here's what let's put this on the record. Here's what you're going to do. Governor Murphy's going to come out and slowly, through executive order, start reopening New Jersey on what he thinks is the best thing to do. So they're going to reopen restaurants that can't seat more than XYZ and so forth. And he's going to get exemption after exemption for whatever businesses he finds are essential. I can guarantee you gun ranges will not be in any of those lists. It'll be the last thing that he reopens, and it's going to be through force of a lawsuit that we're going to maybe file soon. So I'm not going to sit around and wait till the government just kind of, thinks is going to do the best thing for us. And, they're going to open gun ranges. Or Governor Murphy's going to just void all of his executive orders.
We can't even get out of our houses right now, let alone gunner. I mean, we're stuck now for another month or so. We're like one of the last states that's going to get out of this nonsense. So... I just sent a little chat. Pun Boogie, if that is happening, you need to. So Pun Boogie says that Edison sent me an email and said they're waiting on the New Jersey State Police. If you have that email from the FAR system saying their check is done, they're lying to you. So either document it, or you have a documentation, you have an email, and now tell the chief, tell the detective, I have the email from the state police saying they're done. They have already forwarded everything to you. They don't sit there talking back and forth, right? That's how it used to be, kind of. Now it's digital. We're done, close the door, they ship it out, and the New Jersey State Police is out of the picture. And it's all up to the municipal or your local barrack at that point. So clearly they're lying. Follow up. Make sure you're documenting if you call.
He said his references went back, but not the New Jersey State Police.
Oh, so you're not done.
You're not done, yeah.
Yeah, so your references should respond like when you push that button, your reference should be someone that you're literally okay, go and answer it now. So that's always done, right? The state police, like I said, right now they're a month behind. Like I said, mine took almost a month that I did back in April. So unless you submitted it a long time ago, if it was recent, you might not hear back yet. But you get an email saying like, hey, your state check is done. I don't remember the verbiage that's on there. But you'll absolutely get a confirmation. Yes, Mike Peterson, that was Governor Murphy's own words, that for his taste, a safer society is one with less guns and not more guns. I almost think that's the exact quote. Yeah. And then he did this, like the pistol on the hip of that guy, and he pointed to Patrick Callahan, our state police administrator. Let's see. Why are FFL saying it's illegal to assemble non-NFA firearm when stripped lower receivers are transferred as other on the 4473? That is totally an Alexander question.
I'm having a hard time understanding. Why are FFL saying it's illegal to assemble non-FFA firearm when stripped lower receivers are transferred as other on the 4473? Good question. It shouldn't be. You can buy a stripped lower and build your own firearm. I don't know if are you talking about other firearm where you can build another firearm, that has, a 10.5 inch or 12.5 inch barrel. I think that's kind of what you're talking about. I know those receivers have to say other firearm on it. It cannot be a rifle. It can't be designated as a rifle lower receiver.
Rev Biker comically said, only thing we in New Jersey are missing are ankle bracelets. Rev, I don't know how to explain this, but you already are wearing an ankle bracelet. It's right here, and they know where you are at all times. And in fact, with COVID, they're like, the NSA is definitely tracking all this distancing stuff. So trust me, we're all already wearing an ankle bracelet. It's in your pocket. I don't see too many other questions. I see a bunch of chat. Okay, waiting since December. Had my reference go through. Had my prints run. My police department hasn't contacted. Last email I got was that my background check was complete. What can I do?
When did you get that email?
I don't know if you've been listening to this episode or the last two, but you need to document it. You need to call them, document the call. If you're on the phone, you need a separate phone or separate tablet recording your conversation on speakerphone. And if you're going to the police department, you need to be recording it on video with your cell phone in your pocket in airplane mode like this. We put out a video about a year ago about activism that we'll post. I'll Google it when Alexander's talking and post it in the chat. But this is, unless you, they're never going to respond to you. They don't care about you, right? They're not sitting there going, oh my God, I haven't done this guy's Maxwell Goldberg's permit. Oh, I'm losing sleep. Oh my goodness. They don't care, right? If you never bother them, they'll never do it in some departments. So like we said, I can't say it enough. Document every interaction, give it to us, and go to your counsel if it gets to that point where they really aren't answering you, and explain that you're being railroaded by the police department. Is the state police sending... I'm glad Jose's paying attention. Thanks, buddy. He's like the chat monitor right now. Is the state police sending the application electronically to local PD after the background check? Yes, Adrian. It's all digital. It's like a system they log into, and every day, like the whoever the user is at the police department, he goes in and sees, oh, these are the ones that came from the state. It's all electronic, so they can't be like, oh, I lost this in the mail. Like, no, you didn't lose it in the mail. It used to be like that. It used to be all paperwork, but now that's gone.
Let me just explain this again. You go online, you do it through the forest system. You fill out the application, and then the state police do their background check. Then your references get their email, which is done instantaneously. They fill that up. It goes back to the state police. As long as there's nothing being reported, it's clear, it's good to go. And then once the state police does the background check, mental health background check, they notify through the computer system. They log in, the local police department logs in, says, oh, here's a list of all the applicants that were approved by the state police. All they have to do is go to the little typewriter, type up your name and information onto the FID card, and then call you up and say, come on by. We got to put your fingerprint on there. I need you to sign this. And that's it. So if
they don't do the fingerprint. Oh, on the card. Yeah.
And
they're not like doing your fingerprints for background. That's already done. That's just so on the physical card, there's a little ink print of your fingerprint.
So when you contact us or when you're talking to us about what they're telling you, it's most probably a lie. It's most likely, yeah.
Most probably.
I'm getting tired.
Immigrants.
Yeah.
Build that wall.
Yeah. So I can't tell you how many times we've been in these departments and the chief just says, they're on my desk, I'll do it when I feel like it. That's the sheer arrogance and attitude we have to deal with. That they'll do it when they feel like it. And I know some other police departments personally where they tell us, yeah, they do them every Friday. So if mine comes in on Monday and it's ready to go, I got to wait an entire week for them to feel like doing my permit and having the chief sign it, because the police chief has to sign each one. And that's it. So if they're telling you something, if you got the state police to write back an email and say your background check's complete, you got to wait till the local police department contacts you, and you call your local police department and ask them, and they say, oh, we're still working on it. It's a lie. It's a blatant lie. And that's how angry we should all be about this, because they sit around and give us the runaround. Like you watch the Sayreville video. First it was this. There's signs on the wall saying Firearms is closed. The answering machine says Firearms is closed. Their Facebook says Firearms is closed. I walk in. The guy knew who I was. He knew I was recording. He made that very obvious. And then suddenly the story changed. Oh, the woman's coming in next week. We're just been backlogged on things.
What about the last 8 weeks?
Yeah, what about
the woman wasn't here? Who was covering for the woman? So for 8 weeks, nobody can get a permit? Nobody can lawfully buy a gun in the city of Sayreville? Like, come on, man. I'm tired of this. That's why, unless somebody does what we do, this doesn't get called out and nobody gets helped.
Yeah. And you know what? They might not file charges of official misconduct, which they should be doing against these police departments, these police officers that are not doing their job. They might not be doing that, but they will certainly change their behavior. And we've documented that very well.
Look at Jackson.
We
actually had someone in the chat here say earlier, I didn't read it because, it wasn't a question, but they said, hey, I live in Jackson. I get mine in 15 days now.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, 15 days is way better than months, which
from a year,
what it was before.
A year,
yeah.
People were reporting to us that in Jackson they were waiting,
because nobody says anything.
Yeah. They were waiting 6-8 months for their permits, sometimes a year for their permits, down to 2 weeks. Right? Because what we do works. Putting shining light onto the corruption and this discrimination that's occurring has results. And you know why they do it? Because for 50, 60, 70 years, they've been getting away with it. Until we showed up and started changing that and fighting back and exposing them and documenting them and just fighting back. That's it. It works. You have to follow our advice. Rev, I am not drinking Mountain Dew. That's disgusting.
Don't go out of order, because then I'm repeating stuff and then you're yelling at me.
All I saw was Alex needs a green Mountain Dew. That's not going to happen.
Yeah,
I got my purple smoothie
drinks
right here.
Like organic water, and
I got my purple smoothie here.
Fiji waters and all that kind of stuff. I actually one of my on a personal side, we have a lot of fun hanging out and not talking guns. Like we go out to eat. We talk about whatever going on in our lives. We know each other's friends and circles and all that. It is funny though when we go out and our diets couldn't be any more diametrically opposed, and I still make fun of him every time, even though I love him. All right, so Maxwell Goldberg had another follow up. Who do I go to with the documentation? Do I need to hire a lawyer? How do I find a lawyer? You don't need a lawyer, right? If you're just a millionaire and you want to sick a lawyer on them, go ahead, but you don't need a lawyer. Just document your conversation. If their answer is anything short of, here is your permit, and you've already been waiting, for a month, a week, several weeks, then just say, all right, I'll go to you don't even have to threaten them. Just be like, okay, take the documentation, go to the council meeting, ask who is the police commissioner, and someone will go, that's me. And then you say, hey, I applied for this permit on this day. I got a clearance from the state police on this day. Here's your response from your department. And push play and play it into the microphone and tell the town on the record in front of the police chief what their department is doing to you. You don't need a lawyer. Could one of you guys clarify the benefit of the FID card as it pertains to the transportation of long guns? To be clear, I already have one.
The benefit?
I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so take what I say with a grain of salt. I don't think you need an FID to transfer a long arm that is lawfully already yours. So, for example, I used to live in Connecticut briefly, and I bought a long arm and a handgun there, and I brought them to New Jersey when I became a resident there. And before I had an FID card, I believe, can you leave? Maybe you can't leave the house. You know what? I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to comment on that. I'll tell you what. Who asked that question? Sam381. I could be wrong. I think maybe you're not allowed to transfer.
I'm confused by the question.
He's saying like essentially, is there an implication or benefit or detriment to having or not having an FID in terms of transporting a long arm? Essentially, can you do it without an ID, or does the ID give you some privilege that you otherwise wouldn't have had?
You do not need one, from my understanding. You can move to New Jersey, and as long as your firearms are not prohibited in this state and you're not a prohibited person, you can lawfully own a firearm in New Jersey.
You can own, I know that, but can he transport them? Can he like now go to a trap range with a shotgun and go shooting and get pulled over and not be breaking the law?
Whatever the circumstance is, and I'm not agreeing with it, you should always have your FID card on you, just because cops will harass you over this and may potentially...
Sam 381 who asked that, that's a good question. Yeah. Contact us. It's in the description. We have a contact page that goes to our email. Put that question there, and we will get back to you with one of our attorneys who will confirm the answer. I don't want to give out bad information.
Yeah, good point.
Evan brings up a good point, and they're referring to the conversation about the Edison email. The problem is that email says not to call the PD, and people believe it. Yes, don't listen to them. It's like... Imagine you worked at McDonald's, right? And you're the manager of a McDonald's. And then all the cashiers below you who work for you, you have your money invested in that business. And the cashiers are telling this long line of customers, yeah, like our grill is down. So like just come back later. Like I don't want to make money. I'll go away. Like you'd be it's a damned lie. Like the manager would be furious. Like, so yeah, of course they're going to say that because the cashier doesn't want to do work. That's the real thing. Cashier doesn't care if they make money. Yep. They just don't want to work. That's the same principle here. So yeah, don't listen to the emails. You call them. It's your right. If it's getting delayed, it's getting denied. So call them up, record it, go up the chain, and make some noise. Alex needs... Oh, yeah, that was the Mountain Dew from Rev Biker. How about if you... Every time I like scroll a little bit, it jumps all the way to the bottom. How about if you lived out of state in the last 10 years? Explain that for people. I had to sign up a mental health release in New York. Oh, Jose, yeah. So you and I, obviously, we had a personal conversation about that, given my capacity. But yes, you have to put on the FARS form your last 10 years of residency, and if it includes any out of state residency during that 10-year span, technically, the local police can investigate that, right? So they may say, "Oh, you lived in Wichita, Kansas, so I have to call the Wichita Police Department and make sure there's nothing there." Blah blah blah. Even though technically the background check that the state police is running is checking the whole country for crimes anyway. But technically, yes, like they can go call the department and then say like, "Oh, they didn't answer us." So it's like the answer to that is it's within their purview to perform that investigation, right? They can go and call these departments and places you used to live. However, that does not mean that they can indefinitely not give you your permit and use the excuse of, oh, well, you used to live in Staten Island and the Staten Island Police Department is not answering me. That's not legitimate. That you still would go and address your grievance with the city. Maybe find a helpful councilman who can help you out. Some people are lucky enough to have that. All right, Carlos Rivera was told to wait for the new chief to sign off on the permit. No, you're not waiting for the new chief. You're going to document them and let us know and go to your council. So don't ever listen to that ridiculous kind of advice. I called local PD this week, and they couldn't tell me how long it's going to take. Did you record it, Adrian? If you did, send it to us. If not, call them again and record it. Carlos, you have an email. Good. Now take that email and go to the council meeting. It's online. You don't even... The same effort you're putting in to listen to me right now, like babble about nothing, you could spend at the council meeting and asking them during the public session what's going on and calling out the police. I'm calling tomorrow morning. You'll have some new videos coming your way. Mike, I love it.
Nice.
We always want new content. We always want to help our members.
Imagine we had like 20 people, 50 people.
Imagine if we had 20 people in one town.
Like,
because we have, like, for example, we have a ton of supporters in Jersey City. Like, I'm thinking off the top of my head, like 5 people by name I know who are members. And if we had 20 people, like, sending us videos of their police saying, F off, don't call us anymore. I'll arrest you if you interfere with this. Like, we don't have an answer for you. Go away. We'll call you when we're ready. If we had 20 of those calls, we would eviscerate the town. We would go to that council meeting and eviscerate the police department. They would look awful. But the problem is nobody. I mean, these questions are indicative, and I'm not blaming you guys. If you guys feel this way, the general public feels even more timid, right? Even because we're at least used to getting trampled on, and by nature, we're all like libertarian minded. We're sovereign individuals. We're independent thinkers, right? That's kind of comes part and parcel with our Second Amendment beliefs. We're all individualists. So we're already predisposed to thinking like this, to standing up for ourselves and not being pushovers. So if you feel somewhat timid about this, you better believe the rest of the community is terrified, and they'll never cross a police officer who talks to them that way. So make sure that you're following up and documenting that stuff. Is it the woman laid off, or is she still here? I'm assuming you're referring to the Sayreville video. If you're not, I don't know. If you are, she wasn't laid off. She was just saying, oh, they send her home and she only comes in once a week arbitrarily. So that was his excuse, except we came a week later and she still hadn't showed up. Only the signs went down because he was embarrassed by lying.
And they told us, oh, she'll be back in tomorrow. Give her a call. And we kept calling and we kept calling and calling. And guess what? Nobody was picking up.
Chris, why aren't 2A groups in New Jersey consolidated? What do you mean by consolidated? I don't know what your vision of consolidation is. I can't speak for other groups, but I can say this. No one else is doing this type of activism, and they're not advocating for it. So, I mean, we can be consolidated. I don't know what that means. We believe in we believe in this philosophy, and this is what we're going to do, whether we stand next to other people or not. Cafe Cubano con Alex. They're making fun of your rich Cuban heritage. Paul, thanks for only in New Jersey is the ice cream truck considered essential, yet our right to self-defense is not. You're right, my friend. That's why we fight every day for this. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope to talk to you next week. Again, the chat skipped on me. Why aren't you guys a group you can donate to on Amazon Smile? I've been donating to Second Amendment Foundation. Evan, we answered this last week, actually, but I'll answer it again gladly. We are a 501c4. All right. The Second Amendment Foundation is a 501c3.
Yeah.
So the distinction is that a C3 is when you donate to them, it's tax deductible. And with that privilege, they cannot politic. Right. So they cannot talk about prospective elected officials. They can't be like railing against the president. They can't be campaigning for anybody. Like they can't have an interview with a candidate and like ask them about their issues because it's viewed as politicking. Yeah. Like you're helping their campaign. We want maximum freedom of speech. We don't want to be chained by anything. And ironically, like we want that privilege to say whatever we want, but at the same time, we never go around endorsing candidates because that's not our mission statement. Our mission statement is to advance our rights through activism. So that's the reason why we can't put a donate button on Google, on YouTube. That's why we can't do Amazon Smile. They don't allow it because those corporations don't want to be seen endorsing overtly. The word's not contentious. Overtly specific issues that can be polarizing, right? So like Amazon will sponsor like the Red Cross because that's like a benign, sort of mission statement. Oh, we help people get like medical care. Okay, no one's going to be upset about that. No one's going to sue Amazon for supporting that. The NRA, like they split up into two groups, right? There's the NRA and the NRA ILA. They're a C4 and a C3. The ILA like can go around saying whatever they want. The NRA can't. So that's a distinction. That's why you won't see the NRA ILA on Amazon Smile. So that's kind of the reason for it. We have no control over that. Any response from the state on your 1A complaint? Well, do you want to take that?
Yeah, let me take it.
Because I've been talking a lot. My mouth is dry.
So in regards to the First Amendment case, it was filed last week sometime. The state was actually served, I believe, May 5th. Because the courts are backlogged, you had to formally serve the state with the complaint. So that was May 5th.
We just to be clear, we submitted it last Wednesday.
The 30th, I think, or something?
Yeah, we submitted it a week and a day ago.
Yeah.
But the process server has to then deliver it to whoever represents the state.
So, and of course, the courts are backlogged. The courts are running slower, things of that nature. The courts even changed their process. You can electronically file complaints now. I don't know of the whole process. The lawyer was talking about it. But I know they were served, I think it was May 5th, and they have to formally respond by
21 days.
Within 21 days, not counting the day that they were served. Now, Here is
the 27th.
Is
By
that
the,
it's
by
gonna
the
be?
is it business days or calendar days?
Actually, the complaint says 21 days.
All right, so by the 27th,
Yeah,
they have
I did
to
check.
respond.
Like, is that business days, and it didn't actually clarify.
I can't wait because this. I really. We don't want to talk about it too much, but
Yeah.
I don't really think it's going to go terribly far. I think there's going to be some form of concession. So, the good news is we'll have something to discuss before the end of the month.
Yeah.
And we'll have an official.
Yeah,
response
we'll at least find out where they stand, what strategy they're going to utilize. I can't really talk much more about that, but you'll find out very shortly. Hopefully in 20-something days, we'll report.
So again, that's why we're never backing down. We always are on the offense with legal.
Offense. Never go on defense. Don't waste your time going on defense.
And don't wait for SCOTUS.
Yeah, and do not wait for SCOTUS.
We love the lawsuits.
I love lawsuits, but there's
but don't count on it.
It's like saying, hey, I have a V8 Mustang. I have 4 extra cylinders. Let me just run on 4. No, we should be firing on all 8 cylinders right now. We should be doing the activism. We should be doing the news. We should be doing the lawsuits. Every aspect of Second Amendment advocacy, information, and so forth, we got to be firing on all cylinders. And that's why I love NJ2AS, because we do it all, and we do it all really well. There's tons of other things I'd love to do that we just need the resources to do it. And that's why I want to thank the supporters we have currently, the donors, the members that we have. I know Fred Kuhn, who does our membership processing. He messages me every week. Hey, man, you guys are doing a great job. Membership's up this month. But I know he's processing hundreds of memberships every month. So good for him, because I can't imagine doing that work myself.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to turn the corner, like we alluded to, on some new activism. We're going to get more into like urban environments, and I think it's going to make some heads explode. So we're really excited to get to work on that quite in the near future.
Yeah, because we have to do that outreach. I mean, perfect example, Montclair, New Jersey. School sponsored that anti-gun mural being painted on that train station, and because they're into what I really proved was they're into schools indoctrinating kids that guns are bad. And we have to counter that, because they're not being honest. They're not being honest. They're lying to the children. They're lying to our future youth, and we have to fight back against that. So,
future youth.
I'm so tired. I only slept 4 hours last night. So full disclosure,
Cuban, Syrian, Armenian, all this just depraved people.
So in regard to the outreach, we're going to be expanding the outreach. There's a lot more coming. Hopefully next week we can talk more about that, and those aspects will come to fruition, and it'll be tangible, and we can actually discuss it.
So yeah, you're going to see some heads explode. All the people that pretend to care about urban environment and minorities, let's just say some heads are going to start exploding. It's going to be fun. I'm wondering if an FID card allows any more flexibility over not having one. Yeah, it's mostly purchasing privileges. So, like I said, if you want to, I think Sam 381, you were asking before about the FID. If you want to synthesize that into like one paragraph, we'll have people check it and give you a more correct legalistic answer. Good luck getting ammo without it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's a purchasing.
Exactly.
It's the right to purchase is the main function of the card.
And that's the beauty of our Attorney General, is they are going out to every out-of-state ammo distributor and reseller that ships to New Jersey and threatening them with legal action unless we provide our firearm identification card, which I had to do with my main supplier of ammunition, was upload a copy of my FID card.
Evan, I have to call this out because this is not correct, and I don't want people to think this. Evan said the ID allows you to transport wherever, whenever, without an ID. You can only go to approved locations. You can't transport, even with an FID, you can't transport wherever, whenever, all the time. Like, you can't transport to school grounds. Like, there's federal buildings you can't, like, federal properties you can't transport on. Also, like, we had reasonable deviation clauses, which we still have a semblance of them. I'm pretty sure, like, if you were to, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure if you were just driving around with a handgun in your car, and you admitted to him, and he said, I have a handgun in my car. And he's like, where are you going? And you go, oh, I just always leave it in there. And today I went to the post office and the school and McDonald's and a lawyer's office. If you just admit that, like, I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to do that. So I would ask you guys to either let us consult with someone to give you a more proper answer, because there's definitely places you're not allowed to be with your gun. And I don't want our members to think that. Amin, thanks for the kind words. Like I said, more of you should get involved. Look, if you're in your towns, like this is what I mean. Like people don't go to their council meetings. Go to them. Some of them nobody goes to. Like you'll be the only person sitting there or one other guy sitting there. And there's these elections, and you realize it's really not like this like old boys club. It's just like normal people like you who got involved because they were curious or because someone told them about it. And if there's more of us there, we can help each other.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
The problem is like people have this conception of like, oh, those are just, they're all corrupt and blah, blah, blah. Well, yes, they are. So we can attack them from the outside, but you can also infiltrate from within and change things for the better. And, it's a great thing to be able to help our brothers and sisters. So get involved and run for office. Who knows? You might be able to help people and get inside.
Yeah. And, exactly what Dan was saying. I've gone to a lot of council meetings, and I've walked in where there's nobody there.
All the time.
Nobody there. And you should use that to your advantage because now they're going to listen to you, and they cannot just dismiss you to listen to somebody else. So I know when I've spoken up at those meetings, and that's another thing. Get used to public speaking. Go to the public meetings and speak up. That's your responsibility as an American, and we have those rights to do that.
NJ2AS is the best 2A group, so it doesn't matter. Thanks, Jose. Love you, brother. Trump 2020 for Sussex County, Albinger. That's cool. So I guess your status prevents you from monetizing on YouTube, at least officially. It's like I said, a 501c4 cannot monetize.
All the C3s are educational,
right?
And you cannot do any politicking, the types of activism that we do, and so forth.
Like the Red Cross,
or some charities or animal rescues.
What's the people that shake the bell at Christmas time? Salvation Army, yeah, like something like that, right? Like they're just an advocacy group or an educational group. They're there to teach people or to fulfill a mission, but it's not overtly political. It's not helping a campaign and not helping a party, right? It can't be partisan. It can't be politicking.
So just go to NJ2AS.org to become a proud card-carrying member.
It's all organic and grassroots with us. That's why pound for pound, it's amazing how effective we are. Because every penny we earn is organic. We don't have the help of an overarching organization over us. We don't have the help of other aggregators bringing in money for us, like these marketing campaigns on big websites like Amazon. Every penny we earn is from you and from us selling the effectiveness of our activism, right? We're selling a vision and a product. And thankfully, we seem to have a monopoly on it because not a lot of people want to do what we do. So that's a good thing for us.
And yeah, exactly. I don't like to ask for money or support to tell you what I would like to do. We go out, we do what we do, and if you like what we do, you like our results, which we have them all, and are on our website, then support us. It's as easy as that. We're not going to sit there and talk about how bad things are and not do something about it. Our proof's in the pudding right there.
Because that's just a social club,
yeah,
right? That's just people doing this.
Yeah, that's just a social club. That's something I'm strictly against. And
it would just be a waste of money. Like I've said in the other broadcasts, we can get together for free.
Yeah,
right? Nothing's stopping us from getting together for a beer. And I look forward to getting together with all of you guys when this quarantine is over. I'm going to be meeting a lot of the people that I've been meeting, on these chats and phone calls and emails and Twitter. I mean, I've been interfacing with so many people. It's awesome. I love it. And I look forward to meeting all of you. But we don't need to spend your money to meet you, right? Or to just talk to you. We want to spend your money on fighting the enemies of our liberties. Complain, don't always, blah, blah. When are we going to Buen Aprovecho?
Oh my God!
He talked about this Puerto Rican restaurant last time.
Hamilton. Oh, a fantastic place.
Evan T. We'll do like I said, we're gonna do an event for sure at Union Hill Gun Club.
Yeah,
and then we'll do some kind of beer. I know Rev Biker wanted to go out and get like a steak and beer or something. We'll go to Rodizio, something like that, and we'll get all the boys and girls together. Evan T, are you guys looking for test cases for lawsuits? Like perfect examples that would be slam dunks in court. Question is, what kind of lawsuit? What issue?
Yeah, what's the issue? That's kind of vague.
Send us in the chat or contact us on the website. Alex is missing his beauty sleep. Hey, where is the Buen Provecho? That's in Hamilton?
Hamilton, New Jersey. My family lives in Puerto Rico. My mom lives there. I cook a lot of my own Spanish, Cuban, Puerto Rican food. I can tell you Buen Provecho in Hamilton, New Jersey has hands down some of the most authentic, great Puerto Rican food you can imagine. Get their mofongo. I absolutely love it. I'm so hungry now thinking about it. But I will be having tostones Tuesdays at my house, as I always do. So
they can endorse if they are leftist Democrat organizations. Yeah, Red Oak, they can't. And if someone were to like call them out on it, see, here's the distinction. It's up to the government that they operate under. So you could have like a state C3, right? So let me back up. So C4s have to nonprofits have to register in every state they operate in, right? So like if you're the NRA, like they have to have a classification in all those states. It's up to the district attorney, the attorney general or whoever is the primary law enforcement officer in that jurisdiction to pursue charges against the organization if they break the rules. So you're right. There are organizations that may do it overtly, covertly, but if no one goes after them, it doesn't matter. It's like if a tree falls in the woods, does anybody hear it type of thing.
Well, let's just be very
But
clear.
if they don't, like if you're in this environment like New Jersey,
if
if he had a C3 and he was like, vote Trump, he would lose his status.
Yeah.
And not only is there a financial and punitive penalty, that money would all get taxed.
Yeah.
And it would be back taxed. And he'd be liable for it. So it's a huge problem. But yeah, sorry I interrupted you if you were about to make some point.
You made the point really well.
Contact a lawyer. I missed my pickup. Think the mag cap limit will ever get overturned. We get asked this every week. Right now, there's no reason that we see it to be overturned imminently, but we're going to be fighting on that front. NJ2AS face masks. I really don't like the whole face mask thing.
No,
I don't even want to be like trying to
by the time we
profit
got
off
the
of it.
design printed and
It's going to be lifted.
It'll be lifted anyway.
It's all a joke anyway. If you are not breaking the law and you have these people going back and forth about the transport laws. Like I said, it's a purchase privilege is the primary purpose of the card. My kids are anti-gun from the schools and the media. Yep. That's our job as parents. Red Oak.
Really?
It's our job as parents to set them straight, smack them around a little bit. Union Hill, a Union Hill Range day sounds great. Got to get my card out of the grips of the New Jersey State Police. Michael, contact us. Let us know. We'll contact you when we do a date over there, and then we'll go out to eat somewhere nearby. Why is it legal for the state to ask us to waive our privacy for medical records?
It's a good question.
Why is it legal? Well, I don't know why it's legal, but it's legal. I don't have a judicial, philosophical answer for you. I'm not that smart, but it is legal, and the legislation and the courts have decided that they can, and they do.
I don't think that's ever been challenged in court, to be honest with you.
I mean, your NICS check does a mental health check.
But you cannot do the mental health.
So it's federally.
No. If you've been adjudicated, if you've been adjudicated mentally ill, that'll be on your NICS check.
Right.
But if you go to a county hospital for outpatient care, some type of any mental issue, let's say you're suffering postpartum depression, whatever it may be, they want access to that information, and I don't agree with it. I just don't agree with it. People have the right to privacy under medical records, and unless you've been adjudicated mentally ill, it's a violation.
Period. So Armin says, I'm trying to ask my school district superintendent as the number of staff cut, no reply. Yeah, I mean, this just happened in my town. The Board of Education got together, gave a raise across the board to every employee, every administrator, every teacher, and then they strategically cut busing, cut sports, so you have to pay for sports. And they did this because in our district, we voted down the budget 3 times. And then because that budget got voted down, they also lost matching grants from the state and federal government. So our local schools are about to get crushed in a massive loss of funding. They're not stupid. What do these manipulative statists do? They didn't fire anybody. All they're doing is, okay, we're going to give ourselves raises and we're going to make your life so miserable as a parent, so hard that you're going to come to us begging to raise your taxes. So imagine I live in Englishtown, but we're next to Manalapan, which is a relatively wealthy, well-to-do town. You think all these parents are going to tolerate not having their little kid like chauffeured to school. So now they're gonna like go after all these moms, these soccer moms and soccer dads, and be like, oh, see, it's not our fault. Like it's because you didn't vote up our budget. So I don't want to get off too much on that because that's not gun related, but that's just status being status, man. Handgun and hollow point. Can you walk around your front yard open carrying? My understanding is yes. But
legally, yeah, you have that right.
It's your property.
It's your property.
If you want the police called on you, it's going to happen. Just be ready for a police response. Do you really want your neighbor? I mean, look, I can't tell people what to do, but it's one thing. Like you can conceal carry on your property. You could just do that, but you may get a police response. Do you really want guns pointed at you by agents of the state? I personally don't ever want that. José Rodrigues, best food is feijoada cozido leitão, and for Alejandro, he can have caldo verde without the chorizo. I think he likes the chorizo, just not that kind of chorizo. But that's a conversation for another day, José. And he incorrectly called you Jose last time, so I'm with you, brother. You get prescribed antidepressants. Yeah, that's all that stuff that happens. Looking forward to the Union Hill Gun Club. Glenn, looking forward to meet you there. Like I said, once they open up, we're going to talk to Rocco. We're going to talk to Ira. Yeah. We're going to set up like some kind of meeting. We want to actually do this broadcast from there. So we think it would be cool to set up like 50 chairs and bring our cameras, bring our mixing board, and he's got internet, like high-speed internet. And maybe we do it from there and have like a mic with the crowd, and you guys can come and just ask us stuff, and we can talk and have like a communal meeting there. And then we can go blast off, drop some brass on the floor. It'll be fun. As Red Oak, I'll be honest, I don't understand the laws that we have to deal with here, and yet they keep making them more ridiculous. Yep, that's the point, it's to confuse you. Like neighbor calling police even though it's allowed. Yeah, I mean, your neighbor. This is a great. It may seem unrelated to guns, but it is. Bill Parker saying, like my neighbor calling the police even though it's allowed. And he's kind of saying like it's my right. So what is he going to call for? Remember, we have red flag laws. Okay, like I can call. Like I have a wife. Alexander can call the police and put a false report and say, Daniel Francisco beats his wife, and he owns a bunch of firearms. You need to go to his house because his wife called me, and she's scared for her life, right? If he does that false report, the police are going to storm and take my guns away, right? It doesn't matter that it's not true. You're going to get a police response. This is actually even worse because they have the police now have the legal right to do that, and the courts back them. In the instance of you carrying on your lawn, that's you're within your right to do that, and you'll still get a police response. It's just like, why would you want that? You can do it, but I personally wouldn't want that. And I know it's going to cause more alarm than anything, but like I said, it's totally up to you. You are allowed to possess, blah, blah, blah. It makes sense. I really have to step it up. You really have stepped up. I'm proud of you. I thought it was illegal to carry outside. Don't advertise to your neighbor you have guns. Yeah, It's funny. I have some neighbors who are gun people and some that aren't. And I have friends who come over and like talk about stuff, and like we're in the backyard and stuff, and he wants to like look at stuff, and like I'll show him in my backyard is like hidden. I'll show him in my house, but I certainly wouldn't like sit on my front porch like racking the slide on a pistol. Like I'm not gonna do that. And it's not because I'm ashamed. It's not because I'm a puss. It's just like it's gonna invite attention, dangerous attention you don't want. Neighbors call police. Do you guys have a presence in South Jersey? Yeah, we do stuff there all the time. I mean, we're the New Jersey Second Amendment Society. So we go where we're called upon to do our activism. He's done stuff at Steve Sweeney's house. Yeah. Like, we go everywhere.
We used to protest at Stephen Sweeney's house in 2015.
Yeah. Okay, so when I prefer Italian food. All right, so it's starting to dwindle down. If anybody has any last questions, get them in before we sign off. Let me just check Twitter and make sure. I don't think anybody asked anything this week. Anything else, Alexander, that we missed?
No, I think that wraps it up. I want to have some big. I want to get some things going for next week.
It sucks.
Send us your tips on towns.
It sucks because there's also a lot of things we want to do that we can't because of the quarantine. Like we want to go to certain businesses and there's certain things we want to invest in and do, and we can't. Like our hands are kind of tied. So I almost feel bad that we don't have more to share on these live streams, but that's why we're at least doing our compliance checks with the police departments. And like I said, we're going to start an urban activism project in the near future, on top of all the whistleblowers that we are filtering and
that's the beauty of it.
Right now.
If you guys have any tips on any type of corruption, you want to be a whistleblower, please let us know. We're working on a couple stories right now that are gonna really just be bombshell stories, and it's all thanks to the people and the supporters that we have. So stay tuned for that. But like I said, send us a tip. It's NJ2AS.org/contact. Send us a tip so we can start investigating. And that includes towns. We only find out about these things because of you guys.
Yeah, we're not omniscient, right? Like we can't read people's minds. We do what we do in reaction to you, right? Like we don't go looking for trouble. We go looking for the trouble we know about.
Yeah.
But we only know about it if you talk to us. And again, we only can do what we do because of your financial support, right? It's our community that pulls this money together so we can win on this activism. So please, contact us. The contact form is in the description. If you want to reach out to me on Twitter personally, my handle and his handle are on there. Talk to us. If there's no communication, we can't help. If there's no documentation, we can't help.
Yep, exactly.
So
because what always happens is you call us up and the police officer or this government agent said this, and this to me, and then we try to call back and we try to do it, try to capture it, and it doesn't happen. We don't get it. We don't get it filmed.
A couple of questions here. You guys ever on Reddit, NJ Gun subreddit? No, like I said, someone just told me about that post today that the member here said they put up there. So maybe we'll get Alexander on there. I like Reddit. I like lurking on it. It's fun. But I hadn't seen that thing until someone pointed it out to me. The FID system registers people to the PD, and the handgun permit system registers the gun to the person. The FID card is your SBI number. It's your identity, within the criminal justice system or the police system or the state. And
I hope you're not in the criminal justice system.
Well, like that number, like if you commit crimes, like that's how they look you up, right? Like that's like what your records are associated with.
It's called an SBI number.
Yeah. So, the card is like who you are and your identity. And it says you have the privilege to buy guns and ammunition, or long arms rather. And then the pistol purchase permit is just saying like, yeah, you could buy this handgun because New Jersey needs a separate slip of paper for you to do that. Alex, how do you keep a straight face when you do the hidden videos? I could never be so calm. I would crack up.
A lot of people say that to me. It just takes a lot of practice.
He's just very good at hiding things. He's got a lot of things in the closet, so he's a natural actor. Those vegans.
Listen, I got to say, it takes time. It takes practice on how to properly do this. Just show up, you ask a question, and then you just shut up.
Have you ever? Yeah, that's the other thing. Once you talk to them, just shut your mouth. Ask your question.
Don't interject.
Watch the activism video, and I said it like 17 times. Yeah. Go back through our videos and watch our old stuff because we've answered all of this stuff, especially if you're new. Have you ever had a local PD support or at least agree with your cause? I mean,
well, they all say they support the Second Amendment.
They all say that the actions are what matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know how they would show that they support us? This is how they could show that they support us. I get an email from the system, from the state police, and that day, ring, ring. Hello, Daniel, your thing's ready. I have it here for you. That's supporting us.
Yeah.
So they can do this all they want. If I don't get my permit in a timely fashion, they don't support it. They don't care. And yeah, we come across like people who say like nice, fraternal, happy, convivial things, but the actions speak louder than words.
Listen, there has been no government agency, police department, you name it, that has called us up that we've said no to in regard to supporting them. But that works two ways. And that's why we have a very different attitude today, because I'm getting sick and tired of us being taken for idiots and our rights are constantly being trampled on. And people are saying, oh, you should support X, Y, Z. No. The Second Amendment's there for a reason. Why are we the ones going and trying to kick government's butt, kissing at government's butt, and begging for our rights to be respected when it should be the other way around? What's so funny?
How can you have a mofongo with no chicharron, armed vegan?
Very easy. Very easy. I get to try mofongo. Oh my God, it's so good.
Silver Wings, police can lie. Remember that. Yes,
Yeah.
they can. They did to him on camera,
Yeah.
and we showed it to the world.
That officer changed his story 3 times. They're closed. Then she's going to be back next week. Then to say police was closed. And I'm like, but there's a sign right there.
The best is the staple, like the audacity. The people who are his bosses, they're closed. Like, they have no shame, man. Yeah. Like, they do not care. They'll just like throw a lie at you and like look you in the eye and see if it like penetrates your brain and your soul. And if they sense that like you're weak, they're like, yeah, then they like keep pushing that. And then if that doesn't work, they're like, throw another lie at you. Yeah. Like, they just keep throwing things and then eventually use their force, their position of authority. Like, it's shame. That Sayreville video is shameful. Like, they should be ashamed of themselves. Just be honest and say, we don't want to do permits. Like, if they just said that, at least it's intellectually honest. Yeah. But don't give me this shit of like, they're closed. The guy's away. The woman will be here next week. Like the like story changing constantly is bullshit.
All right, let's start wrapping up.
He always wants to wrap up. He hates.
It's been almost 2 hours now, and my throat's hurting.
It has?
Yeah.
It's no way.
It's almost 10:30. It's 10:20. 10:07 after 10.
It's been an hour and a half. Stop crying. All right. Guys, if you have any other questions, you can hit me up. I'm up till 3, 4 in the morning during quarantine. Hit me up on Twitter, DFrancisco7, The Armed Vegan, or in the description, we also have our contact page. Send us this stuff. Talk to us. If you're finding this malfeasance, document it. Send it to us. I can't repeat it enough. If you want to know about activism, search on our YouTube account. Search activism tutorial. There's a video that's like literally called activism tutorial with the two of us sitting on this backdrop. And we have a lengthy, like, in detail description of what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for your support, guys. NJ2AS.org. We need your support. Let's fight back and make 2020 our year.
Bye, chuletas.